three for you now. You ready for
Okay.
this?
Yeah.
So, Fearless picks up right where Reckless left off, with Kit saying he is to marry Peyton. He says by marrying her, he can unite Ilya because over the past 30 years, they have grown weaker by cutting themselves off from the surrounding kingdoms, depleting themselves of resources. And Peyton, being an unordinary, is their best chance at gaining their trust, since the other kingdoms are also powerless. Of course, all the people are enraged at this because she's an ordinary and because she murdered the previous king.
Why didn't he just pick somebody else who doesn't have powers?
Because they're not the main character, sister.
Oh, that's right. I forgot.
So Kit proposes that Peyton go through three trials, following the formula of the first book. Peyton, who also wishes to unite Ilya and hopes to help the other ordinaries, agrees to doing three trials, saying that she will prove herself. And then
He looks like he needs some sleep
he does. I told you he was going crazy. He's not looking
and
right in the
some.
head.
He also looks like he needs some milk.
Some milk. So Peyton, and then the so-called future queen who just said, I'm going to marry this guy and I'm going to become the future queen. She just gets up and she walks away and leaves. I don't get it. And so with no one watching her, she's pulled into a broom closet with Kai where they just start making out and
What?
get caught by the one maid that works in this palace. But it's okay because she's also Peyton's friend and lady in waiting, so she won't tell.
I just don't understand what's happening. Time and place.
There will be no time and place in this book. My question too, why does this palace have a broom closet like just down the hall from the royal hall?
And why was he hiding in it? How did he know she was going to pass by? How long was he in there? Like an hour? Just
No,
waiting?
he wasn't in the room because he watched her agree. So then he walked away from there. And I guess he walked into the broom closet. I didn't even think about that.
He's just sitting in there by himself in the dark, waiting for a minute for her. Okay.
The maid catches them and she's like, don't worry, I'm not going to say anything. So the first trial is about to start. And here, Peyton needs to retrieve the crown that is on the cover of this book. The crown is located in the Sanctuary of Souls. I don't know if you remember it from the last book where they had to travel across it and it took like days to get across from the kingdom to
Yeah.
the. Well, she needs to retrieve the crown within 24 hours.
What?
She needs to retrieve this crown from a dead queen that is buried in one of the tombs within 24 hours. So the
She
second,
has to grave rob?
she has to grave rob a dead queen. Yes.
Huh. Okay.
So what took days in the second book will now need to be done in 24 hours. So she needs to go through each tomb. Each one is pitch black within them. And she goes to the last one and she's walking through the tomb in the dark. And then suddenly she's falling. And luckily she lands right on top of the queen that she needs to be there. So she opens up her little casket, she grabs the crown, and she somehow manages to crawl back up where she fell and get herself out. And when she gets out, she runs into a couple of bandits that try to kill her. And Peyton being Peyton kills the bandits. And the second trials begin.
How does she always take out these men that are so much stronger than her if she doesn't have any powers and she doesn't have any like special skills? It's not like she uses like poison darts or anything like that.
That probably would have
And
been.
how did she open the crypt thing? Those things are heavy.
I mean, the book said it was heavy, and but she did it.
Oh, okay. Oh my God. Okay.
So the second trials begin. What Hayden must do for the second trials is cross over this ocean called the Shallows to the next kingdom called Isram. Now, Isram is ran by a queen, and it will take 6 days to go from Ilya to Isram. And we will read every single day and what's going to happen. And it's incredibly boring. So, in those 6 days, there comes a time where Peyton gets taken by these guys that work on the ship, and they're trying to throw her overboard. And don't worry, in case you were worried, Kai comes and he helps and he saves her and he kills those guys. And then they make it to Isram.
How come she couldn't take out those guys like how she took out all the other guys before?
She was wrapped up in rope.
Okay, I guess rope is her weakness then.
So I think I forgot to mention their duty when they go to Isram is to deliver a big huge thing of roses to that kingdom. I guess the roses from Ilia have like healing properties that would really benefit Isram. And I guess Isram has some type of resource that they could really use. So this is the attempts to make a peace offering. And so here's the queen. And when we first met the queen, I don't remember her name. I thought she was actually really interesting. She sounded powerful, even without her powers, obviously. She's like killed her past husbands, I guess. I don't know any story behind that because they
Oh,
don't
dang.
hear it. And so she sounds kind of like a badass. I liked her. And we get 3 pages of this woman and this kingdom. We took 6 days to go through here, and it took I don't know how many chapters to read. They were incredibly boring with nothing happening. And then we get to this kingdom, a new kingdom with a really cool character queen, and we get 3 pages of her. And it's not even of her, it's still of Kai pining after Peyton. And I don't even know how this is possible because Kai and the rest of the crew were not allowed like on the land. They had to stay in the boat. And Kai, for the 3 pages that we get, Kai manages to sneak into her palace, climb up a tree, and sneak into Peyton's room. How he knew where her room is, I don't know. But he figured it out. And then basically the queen is like, get out of here. Thanks for the flowers, now leave. And so then they go back. And then we have to read more pages of them going over here. And there's this little monster that lives in the ocean. And so it comes on board and it's like, roar to Peyton. And then Peyton's like, roar. And then she like stabs it or something, and the monster leaves, and she's like, oh my gosh, I'm an ordinary, I have no powers, and I was able to do this.
Are you kidding me? Are you serious? That's what happens?
Yeah, that's what happens.
That's the first time she's had those thoughts.
No, we're gonna have a lot of those thoughts.
Oh dear. Okay.
So our future queenie here comes back home, and she's like, you know what? I really miss my old home. I'm gonna go back to Loot. And so she sneaks out of the palace again and
See, I knew it. She could sneak out. She can leave anytime she wants. She doesn't have to marry this guy if she doesn't want to. She can just run off with what's his face? Kai.
So she's like, I miss my home. So she sneaks out and then she goes to Loot. And then when she gets to her old home, she finds this guy here named Mac. All right, here's some backstory for you. So there's a little novella called Powerful, where it's about Adina's side of the story. It's maybe like 100, 200 pages long. And in it, Adina meets Matt, and they like make this whole plan to try to get into the palace, which doesn't even matter because Adina is just welcomed into the palace. But anyways, to the story of like, 3 weeks, Adina falls in love with Mac. Mac falls in love with Adina. So she's Sunshine Girl and he's like the gloomy boy.
That's cute.
But anyway, so Adina died and Mac was really upset by it. Also, Mac is a wielder just like Kai. We find that out at the end of the book. He's a secret wielder. So here's Peyton and Mac, and then they kind of get cozy together in a sense like they're talking about Adina and they're getting along and reminiscing over the person that they love.
And her pointless death.
And her pointless death, yes. So she comes back and she like sneaks into Kai's room with more of their, well, we can't keep doing this. I'm gonna marry your brother talk.
But she can leave anytime she wants. Okay. I keep saying the same thing. I'm sorry.
No, no, no. I mean, this thing keeps saying the same thing. So, like, they're like making out and being like, we can't keep doing this. And then Kai's like, wait a minute. Hold on. I know this feeling because he can sense powers and he senses his brother coming. And so he's like, get in the closet, Peyton. And she's like, are you serious? And it's like, yes, get that up in the closet. You want to get caught here? Not that it would matter, I'm sure, even if she did get caught. But she goes and she hides in the closet. And then Kit comes in and he's acting kind of weird. He's like, oh, I just wanted to stop in and let you know that the third trial will be taking place tomorrow. And Kai's like, tomorrow? And you're not going to announce it to everybody? And he's like, I want it to be a surprise. I want it to be unexpected. For Peyton, at least. He's like, it'll take place in the bowl. And so Kai is like, okay. He's like, Kit, are you all right? Because obviously Kit's freaking crazy. And Kit's just kind of like, no, not yet. It's not time. It's not the right time. And Kai's like, what? Kit, is everything okay? He's like, all right, bye, brother. So this guy's clearly not sane. But now Peyton at least knows, something's going to go down tomorrow. And so she kind of dresses herself at least like with a knife to prepare herself for this whole thing, even though she's not supposed to know. And so then the trial begins. So then they go to the bowl where everything ended in the first book for her is here. She's right back in it, from like a month ago. And so she knows now that she's going to have to fight somebody. Something's going to happen here. Who is she going to have to fight? It's Kai. And so her and Kai are rumbling and tumbling, and he's like really beating the crap out of her because he's a wielder. So he's wielding all the powers and beating her up. And she's like, okay, I'm ready to die right now because she's like on the verge of death. And then all of a sudden, Kai has like this weird change of heart. She manages to land on top of him somehow, and he's like, it's okay, Peyton, just kill me. So she has her little dagger in her hand, and then he like grabs her hand and he makes her stab him to death. And so Peyton kills Kai. The end. Just kidding.
What the heck?
Peyton like wakes up in her room and she's like, oh my gosh, I killed Kai. He's dead. And she's all devastated. Everyone's like trying to hold her down. But then all of a sudden, Kai comes into the room and he breaks down her door. And he's like, don't worry, baby, I'm not dead. And she's like, oh my gosh, what the heck? What happened? And then like they go and they talk to Kid. She's like, I want to see the body of who Kai really was, because there was a wielder that took Kai's place, and then somebody projected Kai's image to make it look like it was Kai.
Oh, okay.
And so
I
that
was gonna say, how was he beating her up without any remorse whatsoever?
And so that body that you thought was Kai, it wasn't really Kai, it was Mac. Because
What?
Mac actually has a grudge against Peyton for Adina dying. And so he wanted to kill Peyton anyways to get revenge for Adina. But then last minute, obviously, because he met her, he ended up liking her and he did feel some remorse. So he just kill me, it's okay. Because now he gets to be with Adina, the girl he knew for 3 weeks.
But okay.
Questions, things to say?
I'm just a little shocked at how easily the author can kill off certain characters that are kind of cooler than the main characters. People are so expendable in this, but the people that you want to live die, and the people that you want to die live.
Yes. So Peyton passed her trials, allowing her to be the queen. And Kit comes up with a story about like how Kai defeated even death, which is like, wow, look how great my brother is. You will be the greatest enforcer ever now because not even death can kill you.
He said not even death can kill you.
Something like that. I might be
Oh
paraphrasing.
my gosh.
Anyway, so now it is the night before Peyton and Kit's wedding. They are to get married tomorrow. Tomorrow.
She's still marrying him?
Yes. She wants to unite.
Oh my god.
So it's the night before the wedding, and then like there's like this moment where Peyton walks into the wedding area and she sees Kit and she sees all the roses that are around, and she's like, wow, this is beautiful. I gotta get out of here. So then she's like, thanks, Kit. All right, I'm gonna leave now. And so she runs outside and she knows where Kai's gonna be. And I didn't say this from the first book. Peyton and Kai have this willow tree that they like to cuddle under. It's like their little meeting spot. So she goes over there and then she sees Kai, and then she like starts talking about like how she's gonna get married tomorrow. And then her and Kai like start making out.
Oh my gosh.
So in the first book, what I didn't mention was that Kai has a little sister whose name I also don't remember. And his little sister was one of those climber people. What are they called? Crawler. Was a crawler. So it was like a weak power. The dad didn't really care about her, but she was also very sickly. And she
Aw.
ends up dying. And
Aw.
yeah, and Kai really cared about her. And so Kai ended up burying the little sister under that willow tree.
Oh, so he's making out with his brother's fiance. Okay then.
And so
I'm kind of at a loss for words.
and so this is Kai and Peyton's fade to black moment, by the way. If you know what I mean, wink at a wink. They are
Yeah. Oh my gosh, not there.
they are
There?
extra smoochy woochy tonight, all through the night. It's kind of raining. They got their blankie and they're smoochy wooching all night long. And then the sun begins to rise, and then Peyton is like, okay, well, I guess I better go. And then she just like goes back to the palace. And this is where I'm like really annoyed because it is the night before her wedding. All 4 workers have seen her in this like extravagant blue dress. She runs outside, never comes back. The morning is coming. It's like, it's not even like the sun hasn't risen yet. It's that the sun is rising. And she's like, I got to get back to my room now and get ready for my wedding day. And then she just goes back. And I was kind of thinking, oh no, she's going to get caught. She's going to get in trouble. This is going to cause some kind of chaos. It causes no chaos. No one questions where this future queen was. She just comes back in and gets ready for her wedding.
Do you think she'd have guards and like attendants and people keeping watch over her, making sure she doesn't do anything she's not supposed to, right?
You would think.
And also, I feel so bad for his sister's ghost. How sad. What the heck?
So it's the day of her wedding, and then Kit has like a request. So she's all dressed up, all fancy. One thing to mention is that they are going to have two weddings, one in the kingdom and then one in Loot to like show the alliance between them. Right now, Kit is coming and he's like, Peyton, I would really appreciate it if you would like look through my mom's jewelry box. Oh, his mom died. I guess this is important. Very important. So Kit's mom died when he was about 2 years old. Or no. Kit believes that his mom died in childbirth, giving birth to him. He only has like her jewelry to really remember her by. And so he's over here and he's saying, Peyton, I would really appreciate it if you would, I don't care what it is, but if you could please pick something out from this jewelry box so I could kind of feel like my mom is with me on the wedding day.
That's a little weird.
Anyway, so he's like, Peyton, I'd really appreciate it if you would pick something from this jewelry box. It would just mean a lot to me so I could feel like my mom is there with me. And she's like,
When
okay.
did he wear it?
He should wear it. Yeah, right. So he gives her the little jewelry box. She's about to open it. Oh, I should mention that Caleb is also a part of this very randomly. And she kind of feels close to Caleb, even though it's not worthy of it, in my opinion. Like they spoke like a handful of times. But anyway, she has no father figure. So she asked Caleb, could you please walk me down the aisle? And Caleb says, yeah, I'll do it. And so as she's about to open that little box, Caleb comes in and he's like, it's time to go. And she's like, okay. And so she doesn't even open the box. She just like throws it on the bed and leaves. There's a moment where she's like, wait a minute, I need to pick something. He's like, no, there's no time. We got to get out of here. And she's like, okay.
Jeez.
Just chew the necklace. It can't be that hard. I did feel kind of bad for Kit because it's like he just wanted one thing from her. So they go, it's their wedding, and then they smoochy woochy. And she's like crying about it because she's like, well, I wish someone would save me. I don't want to marry him. Kai doesn't come because Kai's like, I'm not going to be there at your wedding day. I can't stand to see you marry my brother. I mean, obviously, why would he want to watch that? And so she's just like, save me, somebody save me. But no one comes to save her. I mean, then Kai comes after they're married and he's like, I'm too late. I took too long. And then,
So can I say she's crying and thinking somebody save me, but like I thought the whole point was that she can save herself.
oh,
Why doesn't she just save herself like all the other times that she saved herself and didn't need anybody? And you know what I mean? Like
I
she can
know.
just leave, girl, just leave. It's not that hard. You've done it before.
So she goes back to the room to change into a different outfit because now she's going to get married in Loot. And she's like, I can't look all fancy. I got to wear something a little more simpler. And then she's like, oh, and Kit, I wasn't able to pick something out from the jewelry box earlier. I need to get something out now. And he's like, okay, sure. So in the jewelry box, she ends up finding these letters and a picture falls out of it. So I need to give a bit of background information now. This is where all the spoilers will come in. And so anyone that's hoping to avoid these, stop right here because it's all going down. Through the book, we have some chapters that are from the previous king's point of view, which is Kit's dad, the one that she killed. In those chapters, we learn that the king was hiding away his wife pretty much since she gave birth to Kit. So she's been in hiding for some time. I think we hear that Kit is 2 years old. So she's been like hidden away for 2 years. And she even says something along the lines of like, people are going to wonder if I died giving birth to Kit.
She's not dead?
This is like in the past. So at this point, she says
Oh,
it's 2 years old. Kit is nearly 2 years old. And she's also pregnant again. So she's like near giving birth. And we have the idea that the mom is cheating on the king because there's like a moment where she's holding a rose and the king is like, where'd that rose come from? And she's like, oh my gosh, hon, like a maid gave it to me. Why are you acting all suspicious? Calm down. And then she puts like the rose away.
oh my
Anyone who
gosh.
doesn't understand that she's probably cheating, like, I'm sorry. It was very obvious at that point. Queen Iris gives birth to a baby girl and she dies giving birth. And then the king is already mad because he's like, this kid killed my wife. In his rage, he's like, you better be powerful. And he gives the baby to like a wielder or someone that can like sense the powers. And then the person's holding the baby and they're like, oh, she's powerless.
Wait a minute.
But are things connecting?
I'm yeah.
So he's like, just kill this baby because it's powerless and it killed my wife. I don't want to look at this baby. And the guy is like, I'll take care of it. And then he takes the baby and he leaves. I also need to put out a second thing here, what we learned through this. The king believes that the baby is dead, his wife is dead, and then about a year or so has passed. And someone comes in and says, Your Highness, you need to get remarried now because it's been so long, people will need a queen and blah, blah, blah. And so a guy's like, You should marry my daughter. She has a very powerful child. And like, then we learn through here that Kai is not actually Kit's brother, and he is not the king's son.
And this wasn't brought up before. Why?
Because it's all
Wait, how could it be a secret if everybody in the kingdom knows if he like wasn't there one day and then suddenly he's there? You know what I mean?
oh, because at this point, Kai is just like a 1 year old baby.
Oh, okay. He's not like a 12-year-old. Okay.
No, no, no. So that's why I was like, maybe about a year has passed or so, and they're like, you need a new queen, and people are going to be curious what happened to the previous queen that she died. So there's a whole cover-up story about the mom dying, giving birth to Kit, and then over
Wait a
time,
minute, wait.
uh-huh.
Wait, I'm sorry. Is it the heebie-jeebies? I'm sorry.
You get heebie-jeebies?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Okay. I
What are
didn't
your
mean to interrupt you.
heebie-jeebies?
What?
What are your heebie-jeebies?
Is it the insinuation of like the fine line of incest that's like making me super uncomfy and I don't like where this is going. Continue, I'm sorry.
It gets worse. All right.
Oh, it
Well, maybe, in my opinion, it does. Maybe to you
gets
it
worse.
won't. All right.
Okay.
So Kai is not the king's son. So Kai and Peyton are not related at all. We know now that Kit and Peyton are, well, we don't know yet, I guess, technically. So, but we know that there's a relation between Kit and Peyton at this point. Those are the little chapters that we learn. So one we learn that Queen Iris died giving birth to a childless baby, or I mean, childless, that Queen Iris died giving birth to a powerless baby. That baby was told to be killed. And second, we learn that Kai is not the king's son and is not Kit's brother. The king marries Kai's mom, and he actually really likes Kai because Kai is powerful. So he accepts Kai as his child because he's a wielder. Are we good on understanding this?
I'm still confused about one thing. I am sorry, very sorry.
Tell me.
So, Kit is biologically related to the king or the queen?
Both, both. He is the king's son and the queen's son.
So he's her
We're
brother?
talking about Kit or Kai.
Kit.
Yes. So
What?
Queen Iris and then the King Eldrick or whatever. So he is their first child. And then the queen is later pregnant with her second child, and then she dies in childbirth.
She was engaged to her brother?
She is married to her brother.
She's married to her brother?
She smoochy woochy her brother.
Ew. Oh my God.
But she didn't know.
But oh my God.
And so now Peyton is reading these love letters. This is what's happening now. So a picture fell out and a bunch of letters fell out and a rose came out. And so the letters are insinuating that Queen Iris was having an affair with somebody in her marriage to the king.
Okay. It's okay. This is legit like the soap operas that my grandma would watch when I was a kid. Like what is happening?
Hayden finds the picture of this woman with blonde hair and blue eyes. So she's like putting together the blue eyes, the triangle dress, the rose, and all of her observation skills are observating right now.
They even have the same legs.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And so Peyton's like putting all the pieces together, and Caleb comes in that moment, and she is like, "Hello, father."
What?
in mind, those things I was telling you about the king, those were not in the letters. The letters were just notes from the mom to her lover. There was nothing about
Ew.
Kit not being the brother. There's nothing about the mom dying in childbirth. It was just like love letters. So all Peyton knows is that Queen Iris was cheating and what Queen Iris looks like. And she automatically knows that that's her mom because she also has blue eyes like hers.
Oh my gosh.
Caleb comes in and then she's like, "Hello, father."
How
And
did she know that that's her father?
because she put all the clues together. So we know that Caleb, I guess, has like a rose garden, and Caleb used to work for the king. And then she found that rose in the jewelry box. And so she's like, whoa, dang, that guy must be the lover. And I must be the kid because I also wear a triangle dress and have blue eyes. So she like punches Caleb in the head or something. And this is like where absolute, I call it calm chaos because it's like so much happens and yet nothing happens at the same time. I don't know how that
Okay.
works, but Roberts made it happen. She like punches Caleb in the head and like knocks him out for a minute. And she's like, I gotta go tell Kit. And so she like runs through the palace and then she sees Kit and she's like, hey, I gotta tell you something. We're related. Your mom is my mom and Caleb is my dad because your mom was having an affair with him. And that's how I'm here. And now he wants to kill me. And Kit's just kind of like, he starts like getting aggressive with Peyton and he's like, what did Caleb say about me? And she's like, what? He's like, tell me, did he say anything to you about me? And she's like, I don't know what you're talking about. And then Caleb comes down and then Kit, like he comes walking down to him and then Kit sees him and he just stabs him.
What? Yeah, I thought he was brainwashing him this whole time. Like, because he has mind powers.
Oh yeah, that's what like Peyton was saying too. And he's like, oh yeah, 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 that's what's happening. So he stabs him and he's like, all right, Peyton, it's time for us to go to our next wedding. And then Kai comes down and he's like, whoa, what's going on? Peyton explains everything to Kai on their way to Kit and Peyton's wedding in Loot.
They're going through with it.
Yes.
Ew.
So they're gonna go and pretend to get married. And this is what's weird is like Kit's in this carriage with them and he like sees them next to each other and he's like, but now there's vows between them. And I'm like, my guy, you know that they're brother and sister right now. Like, what are you fuming about? He does have like a small thought where he's like, well, them being related might be the way that Peyton can get out of this. And it's like, yeah.
Might? Might? Oh my gosh. Ew. No, I can't. It's so gross. I can't.
They do their next little wedding in Loot, and all the people of Loot are very happy about Peyton being the queen. They're like, yay, Silver Savior, which is like her name that they gave her in the first book. But so they're all
Mhm.
happy that Peyton, the ordinary, is the queen. And then they go back home. It's just really awkward. So the pacing from this point is one of like the oddest pacings I've ever seen. So they come back to the palace and Peyton's like having coffee or tea on her little balcony room. And then Kai is down there and he's like, hey, and she's like, my enforcer, yeah. And I think there's even like a moment where he's like, let's go see your mom's room or something like that. But it's like the sun is setting. So this is like pretty later in the day. She doesn't even like really think about the fact of everything that just happened. All she can think
The
about,
fact that she's married to her brother.
yeah, that doesn't really come up. There's no like, I gotta get out of this now. I can't be married to my brother. No. So she's like, hi, Kai. Hey, Peyton. And she's like, ah, you cocky bastard. And then the very next scene is like Kai in the kitchen
What?
and they're like eating the only food that exists in this world is like honey buns.
Like gas station honey buns?
No, they're professionally made honey buns.
Oh, okay.
So he's here and they're munching on their favorite food. And then all of a sudden, like, oh, and then like this lady right here who's the cook, and she's like, aren't you going to be with your wife? And then like Kai's like, oh, I don't know. It says like he tenses up or whatever. Like, I don't know why you're tensing up, but that's your brother's sister. But anyways, so all of a
Mhm.
sudden, for Kai, he's realizing the math ain't mathin' because Peyton is 2 years younger than Kit, but Kai is a year older than Peyton. So for Kai, he's kind of like, where do I fit in this equation? And he's like, Gail, who's their lady, he's like, what about me? And then she starts acting kind of weird and not answering his questions. So he goes to find the truth.
He's just now thinking about these things, like just now while he's eating honey buns. casually.
It's been a long day. Oh my gosh. But so here is where this story will just completely plummet. If you thought these books were bad, it'll surprise you with how much worse it can get. So we
It gets
just
worse.
yeah. So we just
Okay.
read one scene. It's the sunset. They're on the balcony, and then he's eating honey buns in the kitchen. And then the very next scene, they're like coming up to Kit's study, knock, knock, knock. And they're like, Kit, we got to talk about some things. Kit's all annoyed that Peyton's even there. And he's like, Peyton, I didn't expect to see you here tonight. There's a lot to talk about for one thing. I don't know why he might
Yeah.
do that. So he's like, Peyton, I didn't expect to see you here. And then she's like, oh, well, Kai. And then Kai is like, I wanted your wife here. And I'm like,
Ew.
it's me? No, you wanted his sister here. You want his sister. Sister. But that's the word he's going to go with. What? So
Mm,
he is like, Peyton here is more related to you than I am, Kit. So why did you say your wife? And so we switch to this scene where Kai and Peyton are talking to Kai's mom. She's on her deathbed. And here, because she's dying of a broken heart from the king dying, which let me say this. When we do the little flashbacks with the king, she didn't even really care about the king. I don't know why she's on her deathbed over the guy all of a sudden now. I think it's really just
I
a
was just,
point to get her out of the way.
yeah, I was just about to say, where's she been this whole time? Like
She's
with
been
her stepson getting married and everything, she's not like in the room.
she's been dying. And so she tells the whole truth to Kai. And so, even more, I had to write this. This is where it's like just plummeting because it just makes absolutely no sense from here on out. It comes back into the room. So, we learn that Kit was actually worried that Caleb was going to be his dad because he found those letters. And he was like, I see now that I was afraid that my mom, when I found out that my mom was cheating on my dad, that I was actually going to be Caleb's son. I'm sorry.
That's what he's worried about.
That was what he was worried about. Kit was worried that Caleb was his dad. And this is what I don't understand because in the first book, these are two like replica people. Like Kit looks exactly like his dad. There'd be no reason
Hmm.
for Kit to worry about Caleb being his dad. Oh,
And also, I think he has a lot more to worry about than that. Like who he's married to. Why isn't he freaking out about that? I don't understand. Like
no one's freaking out about
the what?
no one is freaking out about this.
That's why it's so weird because like he was under that weird mind control spell thing, so it's obvious that her dad was trying to get him
No, it
to
turns
propose
out
to
he
her.
was not under a mind control spell.
Oh, he was just freaking out.
He's just crazy.
Oh,
Okay, this
okay.
is
Well, even still, like he needs to check his priorities. I'm sorry. Continue.
So Kit is admitting to all of these things, and he's saying that from the very beginning, he planned for Peyton to die. He planned the bandits at the tomb, and
Hmm.
he planned the people on the boat to throw her over. And then he also planned on Mac being the one that would kill Peyton. So he's been hoping she would die this whole time. And this is where I'm annoyed because he admits that he wanted Peyton alive because he had to use her to make this alliance. So how could he kill her off from the very beginning if he was going to use her? It doesn't make any sense.
It's a good point.
So one thing to know here now is that the plague that came over Ilya about 100 years ago was
Oh
probably
yeah.
maybe man-made. So it was a created plague that gave people powers.
Oh, and they're just gonna gloss over that. They're not gonna explain that more.
No. Well, kind of like he thinks like maybe one of the first kings made it. And so now what Kit wants to do is recreate that plague. And what he did is he laced those roses that they were sending over to Isram with the plague.
That's rude. And
And
also, this is coming out of left field. Like, where
yeah,
is this coming from?
it's coming from right now. Everything is happening right here, right now.
But like, he seemed like a perfectly normal, nice person, and then she just had him switch out of nowhere. Like, what made him switch, or was he pretending to be nice? Does she explain it at all?
I think AI did it, in my opinion.
That checks out because honestly, like, at least explain the behavior shift. Was he being a snake when he was being nice, and now he's being his true self, or was he actually genuinely nice and something happened to make him go crazy that she's not explaining?
He was genuinely nice, And then she puts in that Kit knew all along that she betrayed him in the first book because the dad knew that it was going to happen. And so he's like, no, Peyton wouldn't betray me. She's really nice. And then she did. And then he lost all his trust in her there. We'll hear over and over throughout all these books, actually, mostly this one, whenever Peyton looks at Kit and she's like, he's not the boy I knew, the boy I knew, the boy I knew. It's like, you didn't know him. You barely spoke to him. And there's even a time where she looks at him and she's like, Kit, the Kit I knew wouldn't do this. And he's like, ha ha ha, the Kit you knew. And I was really hoping he'd say, you didn't know me. But he doesn't say that. He just says, like, the Kit you knew is gone. Like,
It's so corny. And why is he not freaking out about the fact that he just married his sister? Why is this not a problem? Why is it suddenly going into like rose plagues instead of him like throwing up in his mouth, being like, oh my gosh, I just married my sister. God save me. That's just kind of like a side plot now.
yeah. Oh my gosh.
Oh,
So there's a line in here where Peyton is looking at Kit and it says, I am shaking now before my husband. We will hear so many lines that refer to him as her husband and not her brother.
and there's no plans for like an annulment or him picking a different peasant to make the people happy for him to marry. You know what I mean?
No, he's also coughing up blood. So he's like he's going crazy and he's dying. So we kind of read a little bit like he'll cough up something red, quote unquote. And so we know that he's like slowly dying at the same time because we learn also with that plague that he took a dose of the plague, the test on,
Why?
I don't know, to
Oh
hope
my
he'll live
gosh.
longer. Mm.
This is so stupid.
And so in his craziness, Kit pulls out his sword and he's about to kill Peyton because she's coming in between him and Kai. Obviously, Kai is going to defend Peyton, so he picks up a fire poker and he's like, "Brother, no, blah blah blah." And they both end up clashing their weapons together. And and so they're fighting and fighting. This is what it says on here, by the way. So it says, it's a beautiful sequence of controlled chaos. When their weapons meet again and they stand face to face, a slight smile is shared between them. This is how they know each other. This is how they remember themselves. Before me are the brothers who taught each other to love with a sword in hand and a muddy ring beneath their feet. They found companionship in what they could control, and in this moment, that is each other. So they're fighting and they're like smiling and going into this familiar dance, as it says. And it's like, I get what Roberts is trying to do. Like they're falling into this moment where they know each other very well. But here's the thing, Kid is coughing up blood and he's trying to kill Peyton.
I think anger would override the nostalgia.
You would think. We also come to a point where they're fighting for so long that it says, I wait for the answering sound of steel. I wait longer. Time grows sluggish. I just imagine,
What?
I just imagine she's just waiting here for them to finish fighting. They're fighting for so long that she's like growing bored. Then finally she's like, something shifts in the air. And then we look and Kai accidentally kills Kit with the poker.
Accidentally.
Yeah, it was an accident because he's like, Kit, you're supposed to dodge it. And he's like, I forgot.
Well, like they were playing this whole time.
Yes, that's what they
Oh,
were doing. He didn't mean to kill him.
oh my gosh.
And so he's stabbed and then he's dying. And Peyton goes to go find a healer. And Kai is kind of like, I can't feel any healer around here. So he's dying and feeling all sad. He's like, I didn't want to be a bad king. He's like, no, Kit, you're a great king. It's like this man just tried to
No,
plague
he's not.
another kingdom. And he married his sister with no remorse. And Kit's dying last words to Kai are, love each other for me.
Ew. No, it's not.
Those are his last words, are love each other for me. Even though he just tried to kill her, he just said how he didn't want her around. So he dies, and then Peyton comes in too late with the healer, and so they can't save him.
These healers are so useless. Like all of these people are dying. Okay, sorry.
No, no,
Continue.
they're pretty useless in this story. So the next chapter is just a stupid post-King chapter, and then we read 6 days later, and we go through like these letters that Kit wrote, where we see that he's going crazy and how much he misses Kai. And then we go back in time to where we just left off. I don't know why you can't switch the chapters. I don't know why we can't do that. Why can't we switch chapters? Why do we go ahead 6 days and then backwards to the moment we were just reading. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense.
And it looks like you're looking at a dream, like how your mind would process something in a dream,
Oh
where
yeah.
it doesn't like when you wake up and you're like, that was really stupid. Why did my brain process it like that? Like none of that was in a sequence that made sense, but you just kind of go with it when you're in the dream. But then when you wake up, you realize it was dumb.
Yeah.
That's what this makes me think of.
So we did 6 days later. We read a note. We came back to the moment we were just reading, and they're like surrounding Kit's dead body for like hours. I don't know how long. She wrote it like it was a
Mm.
really long time. So they're like, while Kai mourns Kit, they're just like looking over his dead body. And then we read that blood was crusted all over their bodies and in their hair.
Ew.
I don't know how Peyton got blood in her hair because she didn't fight him, but she has it in her hair now, and Kit has it in his hair. And so she takes him into the bathroom and like strips him of his clothes, and then she's like washing his hair and cleaning him. And then Kai pulls Peyton into the into the bathtub. And so they're in a literal bloodbath in this moment, washing Kit's blood off of each other, bathing in his blood.
What the hell?
It's so creepy. We're almost there. We're at the end of this. And then we get a letter from this queen where she is like, I already knew that those flowers were laced with poison, and don't ever double cross me again, but I'm going to trust you for now, Peyton, because I like you. So Kai buries Kit next to the sister. And there's also no way to this because we have read like Kit says how he doesn't really care about the little sister, like he likes her fine, but he will tell Kai, or himself at least, that the sister is more Kai's sister than his own sister. So he doesn't even really care about her that much. So this isn't even meaningful reading this. And on top of that, no one is really at this king's funeral. It's like a little funeral, and even Kai is the one that digs the hole and buries him here in this like random plot.
Do they not have attendance?
No, for the
Jeez.
king, no.
And they don't like have to like give a formal announcement to the people of the kingdom explaining what happened to the king?
No.
Huh.
So Kit's dead. He's buried next to the sister. And then Kai gets to become the next king. And then he marries Peyton, and they get married over their siblings' dead bodies. And
Lovely.
that's the end. Oh, yeah. Also, they have a daughter that they named Kit, but with one T.
Why would they do that?
The end.
They named their kid after him?
Yeah, with one T.
You know who the real victim is in all this whole story?
Hmm.
The little sister buried under the tree. For real, like traumatizing. That poor girl.
I have a little bit more to tell you. So we have like a post credit kind of scene where Kit's like in this afterlife and he like is talking to some random people. And so we kind of get the hint that there will probably be another book. Yay. And so there are things I did not mention in this book that they sound important, but they are not important. And one of those things is that, do you remember Blair from the first book?
Oh yeah, Pinky Girl.
Yeah, yeah. She's in this book. She was in this book quite a bit. And Peyton kills her in this book. You would think that would be important by the sound of it, but it wasn't. Throughout this book, Peyton runs into Blair. And how
Mhm.
that happens in this giant palace, supposedly, I don't know. So Blair lives in the palace because she's the general's daughter. And so whenever she sees her, she's like, ugh, I want to kill her for killing Adina. And she's just always filled with rage. And so then one day she bumps into her in the hall again as she's going into her room. And she follows her into her room. And then, like, a candle or something gets knocked over and a big fire erupts inside her bedroom. And so she takes Blair's face and, like, shoves it against a wall until, like, her face completely burns. And then she passes out. And then she wakes up in the hospital, and then they kind of say, like, don't worry, we'll deal with the body. And that's kind of the end of it. That's the end of her
Whoa.
about her. There's no like growth from Peyton. There's no like remorse. Her death added nothing to the story. Blair added nothing to the story. That's why I was able to tell the whole story without bringing her up. Oh yeah, also with
How many
so we think she died, but there's like a time with like daughter Kit where she's walking through a different kingdom, and then she thinks that she sees Blair in the kingdom because she's got like a messed up face. And that's the end of Blair. Also, Caleb, who is Peyton's dad that we learned, has a daughter. and she is kind of like sprinkled in here and there. He has a daughter, and after he dies, it's never mentioned. I have a half sister, and there's no mention of like her wanting revenge on Peyton at all. She's never mentioned again. She's mentioned Caleb's daughter was there, like at like, one point in time.
That's weird.
And that's the story. That's the end.
What?
Yeah.
How many secret siblings does this girl have? Oh my gosh.
And so those are the three books.
I think I'm at a loss for words. That was really bad. Like, I know you said that it was going to get worse. And it's not that I didn't believe you, it just was more worse. It was worser
Cursor.
than I could have imagined. That was awful.
Yeah.
It's giving Mormon. Is the author Mormon?
I don't think so.
Like Stephanie Meyer. Like it's giving like the way like cult people think about this kind of stuff.
I do want to say, like, I went into this book hoping to not hate it. I didn't go into it reading it like excited to dislike it. The first two,
Right.
the first book, it was kind of like I said, it was obviously taken from a lot of other books, and I didn't really fault the author for that because she was new and she just kind of was like on TikTok and like, I want to write a book, and people are like, yeah, go for it. And then it got
Yeah.
picked up that way. So it wasn't like she was a professional author or anything. And then the second one was just really boring. I could tell that she has these moments, like she thinks of a certain moment in her head when I read this, and she doesn't know how to write around the moment. And so it's just very
Oh,
unnatural. And then with this third one, I don't know, maybe she just didn't know how to end it, so she gave it to ChatGPT, and that's what it came up with. I'm not sure.
it could be.
It was like with the bloodbath part, like she gave ChatGPT write a bloodbath scene, and that's what it came up with. It took like a literal bathing in blood.
I could not believe what I was hearing.
But I
It's
would have to rate this book honestly, like I'll give it a 2 out of 5 or whatever, only because like the first two, I mean I read it, so obviously it caught my attention enough to get me to this point. So I will give credit where
Mhm.
it's due and give it a 2. I think it's only worthy of a 1, especially if AI is a part of it. But I will give it a 2 because she made it this far. And then like all those other things that were in there weren't terrible. It would have been great if anything held weight in this book, but it didn't. But up until that point of realizing it didn't, I'll give it a 2 for that.
That makes sense. I think that's fair.
The next book I plan on reading is called The Silver Elite, and I chose it mainly for the confrontation of people all over Bookstagram or whatever complaining about it, and that made me have to pick it up. So that'll be my next one.
Nice. I want to hear about it.
I also want to give credit where it's due too, since I mentioned it earlier, to the webtoon Unordinary, because that is a really great webtoon. And if you were disappointed in this, I'd say please go read that one because that's actually a really good story with not really any romance at all, but it's great. And I want to recommend that and throw that out there as well.
Nice.
Also, if anyone ever wants to say like to talk about a webtoon, I'd be happy to do it because I read a lot of those.
I'll say it. Talk about them. I want to hear.
They rant and rave.